Hello everybody, and welcome back for some new VR news. As always, I am Mateo311, and this is your one channel for everything VR related. So today, on top of the normal game news, we have some pretty intense topics to go over. Mainly what I would like to refer to as the Onward debacle, but there are more lighthearted stories, like Polyarc, the developers of Morse, working on AR development, and OpenXR beginning to support eye tracking and hand tracking devices. So let's not waste any time and jump right into this video, beginning with what's going on with Onward. There is so much to discuss with regards to this game, and if you're honestly not interested in this title, I recommend that you just skip ahead to the next topic. Otherwise, I'm going over several different topics in regard to this game, starting with what was discussed in my last video, and the current state of Onward stability on the Oculus Quest. Okay, listen up, because this one is really important. To the best of my knowledge, no one's Oculus Quest has become permanently damaged while playing Onward. Now, I do have over 40 messages of people telling me that Onward is hard locking their Oculus Quest. And in the most severe and rarest cases, people have told me they needed to factory reset their Oculus Quest in order to either get the Quest working properly again, or to prevent the game from continually hard locking. Now, I've gone through countless forums, the hundreds of messages on my video, and even every single review in the Oculus Game Store. There definitely are a lot of stability issues reported, mainly frequent crashing, and in rarer instances, hard locks. Now, this diverges into two separate topics. One, the early access state of Onward on the Oculus Quest, and my original coverage of this game. Now, starting with my personal coverage, I do want to address some misconceptions and inaccuracies. While I do believe that Onward has stability issues that absolutely need to be addressed, I do, however, need to point out some of my own mistakes. For starters, my thumbnail is absolutely sensationalized. I also unintentionally inferred blame directly and solely on Onward. Now, the thumbnail states, "Onward broke my Oculus Quest." And in truth, it should really be, "My Oculus Quest broke while playing Onward." Now, this is where things took a really weird turn, but first I want to say that as someone who makes content like this, I personally will need to do a better job in the future. I don't actually cover controversial topics. Believe me or not, I do my best to avoid clickbait, and in general, this channel is just about me sharing my personal love of VR with as many people as possible and trying to make videos to the best of my ability. I had absolutely no malicious intent with my previous video, and I truly want to see Onward succeed, and I personally responded to every single message where someone expressed concern, letting people know that this issue is probably multifaceted, meaning it is not solely an issue with Onward. Other factors like recording or sideloading may play a factor, even though I do have confirmation of hard locks from people who do not sideload and were not recording. And I was just trying to alleviate any overall fear that your Oculus might spontaneously combust while playing this game. And for the record, Onward itself does not have access to the operating system, so any title or application that hard locks your Oculus Quest can potentially lead to some OS related issues. And in worst case scenario, you would have to factory reset. While in my personal experience, I have never had another title hard lock on me, and Onward was my first experience with this, my personal experience is just anecdotal and doesn't give you a grand picture of what's actually transpiring. If it's 40 people out of thousands, and the absolute worst case scenario is you end up having to factory reset your headset, this is not the time to sound alarm bells. And I did my absolute best over the entire weekend to get that message out. Now, there is another side to this story, one where I'm speculating on, but I do believe there is some malicious intent out there. Obviously, there's a lot of anger coming from the Onward PC VR community right now. I personally believe some people saw my story as an opportunity to trash this game. Now, I have never once said that mine or anyone else's Oculus Quest was bricked. You may think we're running into semantics here, but there is a difference between broke and bricked. Things break all the time, and then you fix them. Like, hey, my computer's broke. I just changed the power supply and now it's fixed. So I believe someone either nonchalantly or even maliciously looked at my thumbnail, didn't read anything that I wrote online, nor did they watch my video, and just went around saying the Oculus Quest is bricking headsets. And this actually made its way into Downpour's Ask Me Anything, which again was just more fuel to the fire. People were even speculating that this was a coordinated attack from the PC VR community as a backlash to the recent graphical downgrade. My personal friend Eric for President even made a video recently where he said flat out, hey guys, if Mateo is saying that his Oculus Quest bricked while playing Onward, well, he's telling the truth, I believe him. Now, I definitely appreciate him defending my integrity, but at the same point, now this is my friend and someone I frequently speak to and was involved in some conversations regarding this, and he still had the wrong perception of what actually transpired. And that just brings me to one last aspect. As a YouTuber, I have to realize that people might take a thumbnail out of context, and even people who actually go looking for the information and watch my video still only watch about 55 to 60%. So if I'm not able to spit things out in the first half, that means they're walking away with inaccurate or incomplete information. Now, I'm happy to say I don't really think I had any impact on the sales of this game, and I'm sure stability will improve over time. This video is actually getting a lot longer than expected, but I am trying to convey as much accurate information as possible. Now, I've already spent way too much time on Onward. There were other topics I wanted to discuss, namely the PC VR downgrade, the reaction from the community, and if changes like this are actually necessary for a VR online game to survive. But again, these are really heated topics and I just don't have the time to discuss them right now, and we're gonna jump into a more typical Monday news video that I traditionally do, starting right now. Okay, so first up in the game news, the overwhelmingly popular rated VR flight simulator VTOL is finally leaving early access. That's right, as of today, this game is now in full release. Now, this is sadly one of those VR titles that people have been recommending to me forever, and I've just never gotten around to it. That will be changing in the near future because I am covering the full release in an upcoming video. So if you're looking for some crazy VR flight simulator action, this is the title to check out. So next up, another highly rated early access title that I never got around to is releasing an updated demo. Compound is a retro-inspired roguelite shooter, and it's been consistently adding more and more content for the past 2 years. You could check out some of this new content in their newly updated demo. Okay, so next up, if you needed a flight simulator that was a little bit calmer than VTOL, Microsoft has just announced that VR support for their flight simulator will be coming this fall. For years, Microsoft Flight Simulator has been known as the most authentic, true-to-life plane flying experience. And roughly 100 years ago when I was a child, I was actually playing this game next to my uncle who was a real-life pilot, and he pushed me aside in frustration due to my inability to fly the plane properly. The man was nearly computer illiterate, but after simply asking me 4 basic controls, he was able to completely fly the plane without issue and perform a near-perfect takeoff and landing, which was something that absolutely blew my mind back then, as I had failed so many times. So if you want a true-to-life VR plane flying experience, well, it's coming. So next up, we have what's being touted as a AAA online team-based shooter. Now, Frostpoint is in development from In Exile, the same studio that brought us A Mage's Tale and Wasteland. And while I'm excited and intrigued, I do have to say I'm a little suspicious of that AAA title. Now you will see it referred to as a VR AAA title and a VR AAA caliber title. So already I think there's a bit of a stretch going on here. Now the game takes place in a frozen wasteland, features PvP matches with up to 20 players, and there are PvE elements to this game. Overall, it does look pretty impressive, and there will be an open beta in September. Now there will be a play-to-own campaign in the beginning of the open beta. The first 10,000 people to play the game have a chance of permanently winning a copy. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this game because I'm definitely intrigued. Okay guys, let's move into some software news with a very interesting story regarding Polyarc, the studio that brought us Moss. They've recently raised $9 million to venture forward into AR development. Now this is pretty rare for a multitude of reasons. AR is currently an unknown medium, so we don't know what a good application looks like in an AR environment. and betting $9 million on the fact that Polyarc can pull it off is definitely a gamble. Now, I'm sure the extremely well-received title Moss is definitely helping their reputation. It's one of the highest ranked and most reviewed title on the Oculus Quest, and it was also extremely successful for PC VR and the PlayStation VR. Now, Polyarc's main goal is to make memorable characters, and they're already off to an amazing start with their first title Moss. It's hard not to form a bond with the main character Quill as you play throughout that game, and they know that VR helps make that connection. So they want to be able to do that again, but this time in AR. I'm currently daydreaming of holding Quill in my hand, rubbing her little head, and one finger high-fiving her in some type of overly elaborate high-five handshake. I honestly cannot wait to see what they eventually do with this money. Okay, so our last topic of the day is OpenXR certifications and extensions for hand and eye tracking. Now, I've spoken about OpenXR on this channel multiple times before. It is the new royalty-free open standard for virtual and augmented reality development. It's designed to simplify many aspects of VR and AR development and ultimately bring about the highest level of device compatibility. Valve, Facebook, and Microsoft have all started supporting OpenXR, and the Kronos Group, the company behind OpenXR, has announced an OpenXR Adopters program. This allows companies building OpenXR products to get an official seal of approval, and it will also include compliance checks, making sure that companies are implementing OpenXR properly. Now, the Kronos Group has also recently announced new extensions designed to standardize eye and hand tracking devices. Now, basically, anytime we hear any updates to OpenXR, it always translates the same way to us consumers and gamers. Everything XR related should just get a little bit better going forward. Development becomes much more streamlined, freeing up resources, allowing games to more easily be developed for multiple platforms at the highest possible standard. And you can expect to see support for less mainstream hardware become much more common. You used to see games launching without Valve Index controller support, and the reasoning from developers was basically not many people use Index controllers, and it's just not worth their time. If the tools are in place to quickly implement items like this, then you'll end up seeing a much higher level of support. Okay guys, that was today's new VR news. Definitely a lot longer and atypical for what I usually produce, but if you guys did happen to make it this long into the video, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. If you liked the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing. And as always, I will see you guys on next time.